Hey everyone, it's Shell. We're talking about Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera today. The date for our Unit 2 notes today is 1929. That's the date of their wedding. You can see a lovely little gif here. Frida and Diego were very in love, probably Mexico's greatest love story. Um, Before we get too much into it, I do want to just let you know that in October 2020, the Denver Art Museum is hosting Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera. Not hosting, they have a collection that they will have. No, I just encourage you to go to the Denver Art Museum again if you can. You've done it before, so it might be really cool. So Frida and Diego met when she was a teenager, and he was a kind of a visiting lecturer artist at the university in her town, I believe, or the art school in her town. He was about 20 years older, and he, as you can see from this GIF, he was a lot larger than her too. He was about 300 pounds. She was about 98. They were married when she was 22 years old. Her mother refused to come. Her parents called them the dove and the elephant, not only because she was a lot smaller than him, but she was a lot more fragile than him. She had been involved in a bus accident. She was bedridden for much of her life, which is how she got it started painting. And for my people who choose Frida to work with in the discussion group, you'll learn more about that. You'll tell us more about that. This is the context I wanted to give y'all before you started looking at the artists. So the Mexican Revolution was about 1910 to into the 1920s. If you click on the blue dot, it kind of shows you the Casa Azul, like the location in Mexico, and you can see where that was as well. So here you can see some of the fighters in the Mexican Revolution. So what happened? So this was kind of an interesting case of a sort of imperialism. So there was a dictator in Mexico during this time, and he was trying to modernize Mexico. In order to do that, he turned over large land holdings to foreign investors for the U.S. and Britain. So as you can imagine, that meant a lot of Mexican peasantry were now, perhaps they had lived on the same land for a really long time, and now they were working on this land that was now owned by someone else. Or, you might even have it might even look worse. You may have had, like, Mexican people working on farms with white overseers, which is actually what you'll see in one of Diego's pictures a little bit further down in this website. So Francisco Madero, he's an upper class politician, led to the overthrow of Diaz because there were a lot of people that were not happy with this. Madero lost control. Diaz's supporters then execute him. So there's a little bit of a political bloodbath at the top of Mexico's government here. And then guerrilla groups in the north and in the south fought to give lands back to peasants, and that's the image that you're looking at here. The guerrilla groups. So they're fighting in order to, yeah, get their land back and give it back to the peasants who were working it. All of this led to a pretty huge period of bloodshed. About almost 1 million people died out of 15 million in Mexico, so that's 1/15 of the population, continuing into the 1920s. So in 1917, this constitution was created, but it wasn't implemented until 1934. So Frida was 27 and Diego was 48. So you can see for most of Frida's life, this whole revolution has been going on. So Diego and Frida are both very political. In fact, they're communists, and they hosted like Russian communist people. Right, I've got it. It was Leon Trotsky, who was a Russian revolutionary, and he actually had an affair with Frida during this time. Now, I should say, Diego had many, many affairs. He cheated on Frida constantly, even before they got married. This was something that she thought she could accept. It didn't work out so well as soon as they were married. So she started having affairs of her own. So you may see some of that in your research, and even in the art exhibit at Denver. She had affairs with men and women. Diego and she divorced eventually. They had a very fiery, passionate, argumentative relationship. They did divorce, and then they got back together again right before she died. They couldn't stay away from each other. She died about a year before him, and I believe he did get remarried right away, but when he died, he wanted to be buried with her. So that is kind of how their love story ended. It's really fascinating, really beautiful in a way. So for those of us who choose Diego for the discussion group, you're going to be over here. You're going to be looking at all these paintings here. These paintings are actually also links that will take you to more information about them. For those of you who choose Frida today, you're just going to click on the Frida picture. It's going to take you to Google Arts and Culture, which is going to show you a lot of different presentations about Frida's particular paintings based on themes. So you're going to be able to roll down, you're going to be able to see, her relationship with her body. You're going to be able to see symbols within each painting. They'll go through each one. So you're going to be choosing some paintings to look at.